I think most people look at this league this year and look at Arsenal and City as being the two teams that can compete for the league seriously. And again, I reiterate, I think it was massively important for Arsenal to get maximum points today because chat, looking at Manchester City today, I know it was against Ipswich. I get it. They're not going to be they're going to be tested a whole lot more throughout this season. And Ipswich, as brave as they played, as spirited as their displays have been against Liverpool and City, that's cash money for City, bro. City at home to a promoted team, bro, that's money in the bank right there. But if we can put that to the side and just look at how good City look, wow. It's very difficult to win 4 Premier Leagues in a row and the following season actually look better than the previous one. But I'm pretty close to saying that they do. City look crazy, chat. Honestly. I think they've improved on last season. I do. Obviously, in terms of the signings that they've made, Savinho, wow. 20 years old. This kid is a joke. I get the Mahrez comparisons exist and there are similarities in their game. But listen to me well, chat, right? There isn't a bigger fan of Riyad Mahrez on the planet than me. I've been watching this guy since he was playing in France for Le Havre. Like his family is from Sarcelles, so is mine in France. Like Mahrez, that's my guy. Mahrez was never as he didn't have this explosive burst that you can kind of command at any point like Savinho does. Now, Mahrez for me was a much more gifted creator, playmaker per se, and he was more silky if you want to call it that. But in terms of Savinho's ability to stop and then immediately kind of explode past his defender just like that, I don't think Mahrez really had that in his game. That wasn't so much his game, and it makes Savinho a really difficult customer to contain. And again, I mentioned it on the last stream, right? But one thing I love about him, and I spoke about it on Sky Sports this morning as well too, is his ability to play on the left almost just as well as he does on the right. It's a dying breed of winger. I remember 10, 15 years ago, if you wanted to be considered a top winger, you could do it on either side. CR7 at United, right or left. Robin, everyone thinks of him as the most one-footed right winger ever. Robin made his name playing on the left at Chelsea. So it used to be a case, bro, if you want to, Bale played on the left and the right. These days, you see a lot of wingers that if they're left-footed, they want to play on the right because all they want to do is just cut in. Or if they're right-footed, all they want to do is play on the left because they just want to cut in. And their whole thing is why would I play on my dominant side? I want to cut in and shoot. But I'm sorry, unless you're giving me Salah or Saka or Vinicius kind of production, who are you to kind of demand that you play in that wing? That's why I really like Savinho. He doesn't mind playing on the right or on the left. He'll give his fullback hell either way. And he had such a big part to play for both of those goals, right? Winning the penalty for the first, the commentator I was listening to was kind of trying to hint that he didn't think it should have been given. I think that's stonewall, bro. Look, he's kind of heading out of bounds, so the defender should be a lot smarter there. But he took him down. For me, it's a penalty. And the pressing, the relentlessness to kind of close down Muric in goal and force him into a mistake for Kevin De Bruyne to tap into an open net. I like that from Savinho. 20 years old, extremely skilled, extremely quick, but also hungry, tenacious. I think City fans should be really, really excited about this season for Savinho, man. Again, another guy who has the potential to be a breakout star in the Premier League. And then you look at the other guy, Gundogan. Business as usual, bro. Honestly, it's like he never left. A year away, what's that to Gundogan, man? Pep's first signing, he knows the system better than anyone, man. Honestly, chat, listen to what I'm saying, right? To win the Premier League 4 years in a row and then bring back Ilkay Gundogan to that team. If I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm sick. I'm sick to my stomach. Because it's how good do you want to be? But those are just the additions that they've brought in. Bringing in Savinho and Gundogan from La Liga, tremendous additions. But then also think about the players that they're kind of having come back. Kevin De Bruyne missed half the season last year. And I'm seeing so many people try and kill off De Bruyne. Obviously, figuratively, right? Not really, but metaphorically try and kill him off. Say his career is on the decline. He's not that same guy anymore. Well, I'm sorry, if this is Kevin De Bruyne on the decline, damn, I need some of that, bro. Come give me Kevin De Bruyne at Man United on the decline. I'll take that any single day of the week, bro. What a player. What a player. And the scariest thing as well, too, is that Manchester City can probably afford to manage his minutes better than anybody else in the league. So even if it is Kevin De Bruyne on the athletic decline, who better to manage how much he plays and get the most out of him in crucial moments than Man City? And then you look at Erling Haaland as well too. Now, I've been labeled an Erling Haaland hater at times. I've been criticized for how harsh I've been at times. And to be fair, I have to say this, right, chat? While I stand by a lot of what I say about Erling Haaland in terms of for me, he is not the best footballer in the world per se. I actually gain a lot of respect for Erling Haaland, which, look, he does not need my respect first and foremost. I'm not trying to say that Haaland should be thanking me for having respect for him. I'm not trying to say that. But I'm looking at Erling Haaland in a different light after watching the Euros. Because a big thing that I always say about Erling Haaland is his completeness. What is he offering you when the ball isn't kind of falling to his feet or when he isn't getting service? But I'm sorry, I watched the Euros where I watched Harry Kane, who is supposed to be this all-encompassing, complete forward. Bro, in an instant like that, I'd rather have Erling Haaland who touches the ball 5 times a game, bro. Kane was touching the ball too much. So I actually gained a lot of respect and a newfound appreciation from Erling Haaland watching Harry Kane during the Euros. Because if that's the alternative, give me Erling Haaland's 5 touches a game. However, last season, Erling Haaland, even though he was the Golden Boot winner and he missed large parts of the season, let's face it, bro, he was kind of crocked. Erling Haaland was not fully fit last year. There were games where he clearly was nursing a back injury. There were numerous times where he actually even had to be pulled out of games because clearly the engine wasn't there anymore. And I think towards the end of the season, he was really running on fumes. He still managed to win the Golden Boot award, by the way, which is insane. Like a player who's half injured still had the most goals in the league. But clearly Erling Haaland last season was not at his physical best. This year, come on, man. He looks lighter. He looks sharper. He looks hungrier. And that's a scary sight for every single team in the Premier League and every single team in Europe. A sharp, fit, light, healthy, hungry Erling Haaland is a threat to every single team in the Premier League. All 19 teams in the Premier League should be shaking in their boots seeing this guy the way he started the season. It's terrifying. His display today, got the penalty, scored it. Second goal, tight angle. That ain't no problem. The third goal, anybody saying he's a tap-in merchant, needs service. Bro, from that distance, with that precision, bagsman, shooter. Premier League's in massive, massive trouble because, chat, I'm going to put this out right here. My first hot take of the season. I think Erling Haaland breaks his own Premier League record. In fact, that might not even be a hot take. You guys are probably thinking, well, duh. I think he breaks his own record, which is what, like 35, 36, 37? Around that? I think he breaks it. I think Erling Haaland could go for 40 this year in the Prem. If Pep doesn't pull him off when he's on like a hat trick every single game like he did his first year, Erling Haaland can break 40 this year, bro. He can break 40 for sure. 36 is his record. He can definitely break it, and I think he will. And look, they asked Pep at the end of the game, is he the most complete center forward he's ever seen? For me, that's where it starts to go a little too far because you guys know my thoughts on Erling Haaland. I don't think he's a complete center forward, but he's the most lethal center forward that the Premier League has ever seen. And I'm ready to say that. Well, I was ready to say that after his first year, but 3 years in, I've never been more positive. Lethalness, stone cold killer in front of goal, just hungry for goals. This guy is obsessed for goals to a level that in the Premier League, I think bar Ruud van Nistelrooy, in terms of just hunger for goals, I don't think we've seen. We always talk about Harry Kane. Could he break Alan Shearer's record? And one day he might end up doing so if he decides to come back. But honestly, the real fear for Alan Shearer should be if Erling Haaland never decides to go to Madrid or Barca and decides to spend his whole career in the Premier League. Because then at that point, it'll be like, not if he breaks his record, when will he break his record? Within 5 years? Within 6 years? Within 7 years? Can Erling Haaland break Alan Shearer's record before he turns 30? I wouldn't bet against it. It's a scary sight, man. It's a scary, scary sight. With no striker depth at City, do you think he might burn out? I don't think so, because I think there's a fair chance that he just plays Gundogan on a false 9. Phil Foden could play on a false 9. De Bruyne could play on a false 9. Now, if the right kind of opportunity on the market arises, I'm sure Pep would love to bring in a backup striker, but it's very difficult as well, chat, to find somebody of the quality of a Julian Alvarez, for example, this late into the window and for the price that City are probably looking for. And it's also very difficult to find a top-level striker that's good enough for City that's also happy enough to sit on the bench 90% of games. That's a tough find in the market. So everyone's talking about like who's the Alvarez replacement. That's easier said than done. Having a guy like Alvarez as your backup striker like City have had for the last 2 years, that's not normal. Teams don't operate like that normally. So I think the Haaland depth or the Haaland insurance policy comes from within. You're going to have to look at your depth, to be honest with you. Rico Lewis, another player today. I sang his praises during the Community Shield. I sang his praises against Chelsea. I'm going to sing his praises again today, man. This kid is mint. Honestly. And I think I read a stat today, or I was told a stat by Smitty on Sky Sports. I think he said he's the teenager who's played the most minutes under Pep. Think of the teenagers that Pep has managed. Managed Thiago at Barcelona. Managed Phil Foden. He managed Cole Palmer. Obviously, Cole Palmer didn't play as much at City. At Bayern, who did he manage in terms of teenagers? I can't exactly remember. At Barca, he had Boyan, to be fair. Really talented teenager those days as well, too. Pep has managed some brilliant teenagers. Rico Lewis is the one of the most minutes under Pep. Tells you, A, how much Pep trusts this kid. B, how long he's kind of been in and around the City team without really making too much noise, right? I feel like Foden gets more noise because he's obviously the player of the year. Cole Palmer because of the impact he made. Oscar Bob now as the new kid on the block. But Rico Lewis is one of the most successful City graduates to date. I think he's a top player, man. I think he's a bit, not unfortunate, right? Because he's playing for City and winning everything. So don't get it twisted. It's not unfortunate here. But in terms of hype, I think he misses out on a lot of deserved hype because A, he's not a goal scorer per se, and B, because he plays at City, and C, because he's sometimes overshadowed by his other academy graduates who are a bit more flashier, a bit more easy on the eye or louder per se. But Rico Lewis, man, is a top player. And I really hope this year, for his own sake, is kind of his breakout year as like a City regular. Like he's been in and around the first team. He's had moments in the squad. But in terms of like being a guy who's regularly featuring in the 11, I think Rico Lewis has a real chance of stamping his authority this year, man. I really do. It's also that he plays at right back, but the way he plays as well too, chat, he's not a regular right back. He inverts into midfield. The positions he was taking up for City today, bro. He could have scored a few times, bro. He's playing half the game in the box. Smashed the crossbar off an opportunity. Brilliant player, man. Honestly, really, really good player. But yeah, man, City are scary. I hope that Arsenal gives them a real tough go. And in fact, if you ask me, I would rather Arsenal win the league because as a United fan, first of all, I don't want to see City win. And second of all, 5 times in a row. That would make me sick. Already they broke United's record and made it 4. But 5 times in a row. At some point, we have to just look and say, the Premier League needs to get their shit together. But as much as I respect Arsenal, and as much as I believe Arsenal will push them this season, just as far as they have in the last few years, at the current moment, I don't see a team that beats City this year in the Prem. I don't see it. But the season is long. We're only 2 games in. Like I said, it's all about results right now. And we'll see what happens when Arsenal visit the Etihad in a few weeks' time. But at the moment, just like they have been for the last 6-7 years, City look like the team to beat this year. Crazy, crazy team.